What's up, y'all? I'm Jasmine Claypool.
And I'm Miles Bullock.
And we are the host of The Last Word Show.
Well, it's not about how you start. It's how you finish. Yeah.
It's how you finish. It's how you do it.
Today's episode is called Miseducation.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about this education system.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Is it flawed?
Is it flawed? What's going on? And today we have
the lovely Cecilia Ajoku with us
That's right.
today.
And we have my man Wallace Rayford. Both people are teachers in our system here.
Yeah.
And they've been putting in this work with these children.
Yeah, for
All
real.
right. And so they've been seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
Just to jump right into it, a fun fact: according to The Guardian, California was actually one of the best funded, well-ranked public school system in the U.S.
Back in
the day. But now we're ranked 25, and we're at a 50% education score. So with that being said, as
my man rolled his eyes.
educators, yeah.
Wallace rolled his eyes over here.
Yeah,
so before we go deeper into that, can y'all just both give us a little rundown about your experience in the educational field? Give us a little bit about your background. Do you want to start with Cecilia?
Yeah, it does.
Let's go.
Yes.
Okay,
I am currently a second-year teacher. I teach middle school science, so I'm very new to this.
Okay.
I haven't experienced as much as my coworker Wallace has. He's been in the game a while.
Okay. So let's talk. Let's see what's
How long you been in there?
Woo. I've been in education now. This is my 23rd year, so
Wow.
almost
Yeah,
2.5 decades.
Wow.
That's nice.
I came in under the President Bush No Child Left Behind. I can definitely understand why
So
we're there.
were you involved in the system when it was more prevalent, like when it was better? Or have you seen it diminish, or kind of has it been even killed since you've been in?
From the beginning, it was great, and every year I always say I see it going down and down and down each year. Like at this point, like California, I would have to say this about California. We have the most stringent requirements to become a teacher. We have, to become a highly effective teacher, you have to jump through a lot of hoops, and we are responsible for a lot, but we're basically the only ones that are responsible. Kids are not left to be responsible. Parents are definitely not left to be responsible. All the blame when things don't happen well is
It's
put
on y'all.
on us
On
as
the
teachers.
y'all.
That's
Wow.
wild.
That's heavy.
Yeah, what's that been like for you, Cecilia? What's been your experience with? You said you 2 years in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's young.
what's
You
that?
knew.
Yeah, you knew be up in there, fresh face.
Yeah.
When I came into this, I didn't really expect to be dealing with such adversities and difficulties as a teacher. I thought it was a little more easy. I care about the kids. I want to teach them. I want to make sure that they're educated. And I'm walking into my students having second grade reading levels and not being able to add. Like 4 + 4 equals
And you're
Jello.
teaching
It's not working.
what grade are you teaching right now?
I teach 6th grade.
6th grade. So you're talking about there's kids in the 6th grade with second grade reading levels.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're expected to understand what mitochondria are.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're gonna still go to 7th grade.
And still go to 7th grade even after that.
Even after that, not knowing how to spell organelle, yet alone what a damn organelle does. Anyway.
So how do you think that it needs to change, and what do you think educators or superintendents and all of that, like how do we find the change in those scenarios? Because these kids is dumb.
I mean, there's so many distractions. So like, how do you expect a child to really focus in an hour long class? Like, what is that? Like, how do you?
It's really, really hard. I know in LAUSD, we're actually a part of a charter organization that is, our charter is through LAUSD, but LAUSD about 5 or 6 years ago, they had the whole iPad deal where every class had an iPad.
Okay.
So that kind of was very helpful.
Okay.
Because we had them, because we were actually, our school was actually on a LAUSD campus, so we had the iPads, and that was one way to get the kids motivated, or to keep
Right, because you're bringing in that media to kind of keep it fresh for them, keep them stimulated.
Yes.
Before you continue, what's the difference between a charter school and like a public LAUSD? Like what's the difference in those two?
It's really funny. When I started off as a public school teacher in Rialto, at the Rialto Unified School District, and my brother-in-law was really trying to get me to come to LA. to be a charter teacher, and I was thinking, well, it's a private school, the kids are going to
Yeah.
be, you know,
You hear charter, it's like, ooh.
yeah,
not like
these entitled kids, and everybody's paying money to be here. They want to be here. But basically, what a charter school is basically a public school, because we get public funding, where kids can just have a choice to go to a school that has a smaller setting. So you're going to get the same so-called kids
so it's just a smaller
from the
population.
neighborhood, but it's a smaller neighborhood. We have a different set of goals. Like our school, our district is a college-going curriculum, which some schools are not a college-going curriculum. They just kind of.
So does that mean that the information that the students are doing and the work that they're doing is harder or more challenging, or is it supposed to lead them into college better?
It really depends on a case-by-case and a teacher-by-teacher basis, but it is. I would say it's rigorous. I know my classes are more rigorous, and I'm here to teach. I'm not here to to deal with
All that extra
stuff.
And so like you guys teach at this school, right? That is supposed to teach excelled curriculum, and yet you're dealing with students that are at a second grade reading level. I'm sure you're dealing with the same sorts of students and same sorts of problems. What subject do you teach?
I teach math.
Okay.
And I teach. Back in the day, we would call it. I don't even want to say what we used to call it, but it's not the math for the advanced students. I don't want to be
okay.
politically incorrect.
Yeah, all right, okay.
I hear you. But yeah, I teach that math, and I don't treat it as such. I treat it as it's a big deal. Like right now, we're working on some things that I didn't know until I was like in my 30s. Right now, we're doing some lessons on FICO Scores.
Okay.
And how to budget.
Wow. Okay, because I for sure didn't have that.
Right. I mean,
Exactly.
and that was one thing I was gonna say. Like that needs to be in there.
We need some accounting.
Okay, you're talking about FICO Score. Are the students receptive to these things? When you try to introduce things like them to the students, are they even able to receive it? I mean, I'm sure there's a small percentage that can and some that.
Well, it's really weird. Just last week on Thursday, my last lesson for the week is like we do computer-based stuff at the end of the week. The kids were just excited. I was like, I can't believe we were like at the end of every lesson, we kind of play a game where everybody kind of gets to share their answers,
Right.
raise your hand, get points, and all the rest of that. And the kids were just screaming and loud and just excited. And I was like, man, these kids are excited about knowing that you need to only be spending 33% of your credit card, and these are the credit reporting agencies. They knew all three of them, and they knew that FICO stood for Fair Isaac Corporation. I'm like, I never knew that. And
That's great information. I just learned that right now.
yeah, exactly.
I just learned that right now.
They know that it started in 1956 by these two gentlemen, and they're not actually a credit reporting agency. They give all the information to the three credit reporting
That's
agencies.
amazing, and they're excited to
Yes,
learn this.
excited. I'm like, wow, and I'm like, probably they remember it today, tomorrow they'll forget it, but hopefully in the next 5 years, when they're hopefully
Moving into adulthood or whatever
exactly
it may
going
be.
to college or
Right.
getting their first job, and they get that credit application, they know that they should not be, if they get a $1,000 credit card, don't spend all the
All that
$1,000. Spend
money.
about $200 or $300 and make sure you're paying on
Right,
it.
because you'll have to pay all that back.
Exactly.
Well, with financial literacy, like I appreciate that, and I wish that I had that when I was like younger and
100%.
coming up for sure. But
100%.
another thing that I feel like that is missing is like the idea of like trades, and like I feel like my mom had like a cooking class, and there was like a mechanic class, and there was plumbing. You know what I mean? Where we like introduce these trades to the kids to where they can make money, because
Yeah.
I feel like we're in a world, in a society right now where the trades actually are looked down upon, and I feel like it's not pushed in the education realm as much as it used to back in the day.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Your job is not a job where you're going to become a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, something that is where you can jump right out of college and get right into your career.
said a word.
You basically wasted
He
your
just
money.
said a word.
Like when I first started college,
I
10
just
years
figured it
ago,
out.
He just said a word.
I
He
just
just said
figured
a
out.
word, y'all.
I think they cut the trades so that way to push kids to like really go to college, to sign their lives away
For
these
debt?
loans and these debts,
Yes.
and then you come out and you don't have a job, but you can't have experience. Like I just figured it out. I just figured out the circle. That's why they got rid of the trades.
So for you, like when it comes to approaching your curriculum, right? Have you found any ways that you can almost galvanize excitement for science, or like what is that? What's that challenge like for you?
I personally try to innovate it in a way where it relates to their everyday life, because for me, science is really important. It's something that we deal with every day.
Yeah.
So I always try to relate it back to them and what they're doing with every day. Right now we're talking about genetics, so I bring up how they look, your physical traits, this is where you get it from. And I'm bringing up these words that they're like, what? I don't even know how to spell this. But at least they're going to have a general understanding of what it is.
Yeah.
I personally want to develop curriculum. I don't plan to stay in the classroom forever. I think that it's very important that we create a curriculum that's more related to the students in the classroom that we're teaching, and not just some standard that somebody somewhere, which is probably biased, made up.
Do you have any idea what that might look like?
A lot of project-based learning, a lot of
Because they need more like hands-on things now, right? With them.
Relatable subject matters.
Absolutely.
Like, don't just throw these words at them. Tell them, okay, this is what we do in everyday life. Explain that to them, and then bring in the academic vocabulary so that they can make those connections. Because they need to understand that they're building upon prior knowledge, and this is not just coming from out the air.
Right. Absolutely. That's great. And we need those systems. And like to hear you say that, and that that's great for sure.
But where do you even start to do, like you said, it's those fundings, and is it trial and error as well? Like, is it, I feel like in those type of situations, like it's got to be an experiment, and you got to have a classroom and teach it this way. And do you think that kids are ready for those shifts? You know what I mean?
It's not about the kids, it's about the teachers. The kids are going to do what you tell them to do in the classroom, as long as you have a teacher that can actually control their classroom. So it's not about whether the kids are ready, it's about implementing it into the classroom.
So Wallace, you had a little snickering. So let's talk about that. How hard is it with today's culture and society? Is it harder to control a classroom than it has been?
Oh, damn.
When I was coming up, prior to becoming a teacher, I would watch. I used to watch those teacher movies where the kids were just crazy. I'm like, it's not like that. And once I became a teacher, I was like, oh, it's not that bad. But they're actually starting to get like the Dangerous Mind classrooms and the classes like Coach Carter,
Freedom Riders, and like that.
Freedom Riders. Their classes are really like that at times. You know, they're kind of wild and out there. But as a teacher, like for me, I mean, I'm goofy, funny, and all the rest of that, but when it comes down to learning, I am completely strict. I might be even considered as the mean teacher, but it's about having control. It's like, I always tell the kids, like, you're going to be in here for about 55 minutes, where I'm going to talk to you guys and teach at you guys for about maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and you guys have the rest. Know where you are. You're at school. You're inside of a classroom. We're going to learn today. You know, and you should walk out of here learning something. Otherwise, you have just wasted your time. Do you go to the movies and turn around and look at the projector and be on your phone and just not know what the movie's about? Or you go to the movies and stay in the bathroom the whole time? No. You're actually hopefully engaged in the movie, so you can say, hey, this movie was about this. And that's what I'm looking for in my classroom. I try to keep it very engaging, and you know, I even like parents. I had actually that day where the kids were going crazy over FICO. I had a parent sitting in the class, and the parent was sitting there like, whoa, this is real, and I think she probably learned something as well.
That's great.
You know,
you have something like, what is that like for you controlling the classroom?
For me, the kids don't really act up. I tell them you can either get nice Miss Ajoku or mean Miss Ajoku. Which one do you want? They'll always say nice, so they know not to cross certain boundaries.
Yeah, you low-key scared me just now when you said that. So
like you giving me an option of like, which part of me you want? Like, I don't know.
Because they
and the way that you smiled, it was a lot.
Yeah, they see me always smiling. So as soon as that smile drops, they're like, oh. And honestly, as a teacher, I try to relate to them. I'm also like a younger teacher, and they notice that. They all think I'm like a teenager. I'll never tell them how old I am, but like they want me there. They want someone to relate to. So I tell them either I could give you relatable, or I'm gonna not. Which one do you want? And giving them that option makes them feel like they have some control, which really they don't. But it gives them some control over the class.
We could proceed.
Absolutely. For sure.
I wish they would.
tried it.
Oh man. So like, it's time for us to wrap wrap it up.
Man.
We hit some, yeah, it was quick, huh?
It was quick.
My classes go. So
Right?
Yeah, like, whoa, where did the time
But
go?
hopefully, like as a student, I would want my classes to feel like they're moving fast. One, because that means that I was invested in what was happening.
Definitely.
So like, yeah, when you enjoy yourself, the time moves fast.
Yeah.
You know, so like,
With that
thank
being
you.
said,
yeah,
yeah,
like
thank
thank you
you.
so much, you two, for being here.
Any last words about, education or anything that you want to, put out there into
Yeah.
the universe about education, like what
Learning or whatever,
learning,
whatever it
anything,
is.
whatever.
it
Any
is
last
for you.
words from you guys?
Yes, parents, be involved in your child's life. Especially when it comes to school, it's like we see them for an hour a day. You see them the rest of their evening. You have them for 18 hours or 7, whatever, however many hours it is. You see them on the weekend. Be involved. Come up and meet us. Come talk to the teachers. Check their homework every night. Ask them what they learned.
Yeah.
I know you probably do, but really get into it and figure out if they've actually learned something. Because it can't just be on us. We're there in their lives for an hour a day.
Watch your children. Give it your children. Please give
Touch
it your
'em.
children.
Hold them.
Hold the children. Kiss the
Learn. What about you, Cecilia?
Education is fundamental. It's very powerful. I want people to remember what we were fighting for earlier in this country. We couldn't get educated. So now that we have the option to get educated, you want to play with it?
100%.
Like, please don't do that. Really get educated. Literacy is probably one of the most important things that you can get out of school. So at least be able to read. At least.
That was amazing. Thank you so much
Thank
for coming
y'all.
out.
Thank
Like
you
that
so
was
much. For
that
real,
was
for
great.
real.
And that was the last word show, y'all.
Where it's not about how you start,
It's how you finish.
Absolutely. All right. And make sure you stay tuned for our next few episodes. Also, link in with our socials.
Go ahead
all
and follow.
They should be right here.
Click.
Follow, look, read, see, listen. We love you.
Bye.